Alright, so, hi. What we're going to be doing today is something sort of like this, but not, but different. Now, if you have Photoshop, go up to File, New. Doesn't really matter what size, you can fix it down. As you can see, mine is 601 by 309 pixels. Using pixels is best, I guess. But you can do your whatever size makes you happy. So to start, I have here's my layer palette. You can see I already have all my stuff open. I'm a very layer happy person. Layers are your friend, as you'll see. I start with just a basic, plain, solid background. You can use any color you want. I have green, like a dark green, which actually I'm going to change. And let's fill that. And whoop, there you go. Alright. Before I start putting pretty pictures in, I'd like to see what I have for textures open. I have this lovely red thing. All textures that I use, I get from deviantart.com under the resources and stock. Wonderful place. And totally free to use as long as you follow the artist's rules. You just drag it over there. You can leave it the regular size, but I like to fit it to the size of whatever I'm using. It's pretty easy. Now, I'm not really going to do too much with that right now. Just going to leave that particular layer. These are your layer options. You can do nifty stuff with different... See, just scroll through it. And those are all the different options. And I'm actually going to leave it on exclusion now that I think about it. I have a bunch already open. This, as you can see, I failed to crop it getting started. So it's from smokostock.deviantart.com. It's got great stock art. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have an entire folder. But I'm just going to crop this to get the smoko out of it. Before I drag it over. As you can see, it starts out huge. So this is definitely one you want to free transform and shrink it down. The quickest way to do it is by height and width, and then you can drag it to whatever size you need or want. Again, I'm gonna fix it to the same size. And once again, I'm gonna mess with the layer options. Just scroll through them and see what's what. Actually think I like I know you guys can't really see, but there's a reason. I'm leaving it as it is. Right click and go up to duplicate layer, and you get a duplicate of the exact same layer. Kind of self-explanatory. And I'm switching the layer options to hard light, I think. Yeah, we're going to leave it on hard light for now. And this is really important. Having had Photoshop completely crack out on me and close for no apparent reason, saving is one of your best friends. If you didn't save to start, you can do Control-Shift-S, and this will pop up. As you can see, I already have mine saved, so I'm overwriting my file. That little box that popped up is just notification that it's saving, so newer versions of Photoshop are also able to open this. Alright. Now, before I add any more textures or anything, this little nifty button down here, you see that? I'm going to click it and go up to Gradient. And you get these lovely gradient palettes. Now, I have a few hundred different gradient palettes installed. This is another thing you can get from DeviantArt. They really come in handy because they add nice colors and give you a lot of blending options to work with. These are all the ones I have. Like I said, I have a couple hundred in here. Let's see. Nope. And for some reason we're repeating. Now, there's one in particular I'm looking for. And y'all are probably going to think I'm crazy when I finally find it. But there's a reason I like it. Let's try this again. Well, I can't actually find the one that I was looking for. So I'm going to go for a backup. There. Now, you can make your own gradients. It's not that hard. These little things down here, you click on one, down here in color, and you can change the color around to pretty much anything you want. And the same goes for these ones. I tend to find the pre-made gradients just a little easier to work with. And I'm going to fix the angle on this. And drag it around a little. And voila. And once more, we're going to our bestest friend, the layer options. And again, just scroll through till you find whatever one strikes your fancy. I oddly like that one, but I am going to duplicate and swap it up to something else. There. Alright, now, I know what you're thinking. It's kind of purple, pink, and girly looking. Just hold your horses. Just wait. Alright. Just out of my own paranoia, I'm saving it. Alright. Where'd it go? There. And this is another Smoko stock. I think most of these are Smoko stock, except for a couple of them. Prop it down again. And drag it over. Again, you're definitely going to want to resize this. Sometimes it helps if you do it before you get started. Just, yeah. Crop and resize. And go from there. But I'm not caffeinated enough to have thought of that beforehand. And yep, you guessed it. More layer optioning. Yep, we're gonna stick up here somewhere. And I am a huge fan of duplicating. If you hadn't been able to tell. In some cases, my duplicating is to serve a purpose, besides just having multiple of the same layer with different layer properties. Sometimes I don't think that one layer set to overlay is enough, so I'll add a layer of soft light or another overlay, and then drop the opacity a little bit. And just that alone makes it like a gazillion times darker. So I'm going to do that there. And now we're going to brighten it up a little. I'm going to take this pretty green one, which is not a Smoko stock. It is actually a Tsunami. Don't remember if she's actually on DeviantArt anymore, but I'm pretty sure she is. But same dealio. Take it, drag it, transform it. Oh! One of the easiest ways to free transform and keep your aspect ratio on your image is when you grab a hold of one of the corners, hold down shift as you're dragging it. You see it drags it and keeps it the dimensions the same, just smaller. It's just a nice little tip for when you're a little further in. Right now it doesn't matter. And there you go. Yep. And look at that, it's already looking a little brighter. Whoops. These right here, these three things, these are layered roots. I have a purpose for them. And now, we're going to take this lovely, lovely picture of Hugh Laurie, aka House, for those that don't know. He's a beautiful, beautiful man. This particular picture is humongous. The dimensions are ridiculous. I would highly recommend resizing it before you drag it. At least a little bit. As you can see, these are the original dimensions. We're gonna drop it down to about 70%. And it's that much better. Now, before I drag it over, this is entirely if you feel like doing it with your photos. I'm just going to adjust the brightness and contrast a little bit. And I am going to brighten. This tool here is the dodge tool. It is your friend. It makes dark things lighter. But you have to be very careful because it will eventually leach out all color just from sheer brightening of it. And I'm gonna go over to the sponge tool, and mode is set to saturate. What saturate does is it takes whatever color is present and intensifies it. So Mr. Laurie has beautiful blue eyes, and we're just going to make them a little bit bluer. This is a usually relatively quick way of doing it. Another way is to add a new layer and use your paintbrush. I like the dodge and saturate because it keeps it natural looking. And if you look closely, you can see flecks of differing shades of blue. Alright. Mr. Laurie, you are ready. Drag him over. Now, I find it... Oh, he needs to be in my folder. My photos. Group. I find it best to duplicate, and then leave the original as it is. Just hit that little eyeball thing and it makes it invisible. See? And now you can't see it. Now you see it. Now you don't. And we are going to resize him now. This is where the shift drag comes in handy. Grab that corner, shift, hold down shift before you, and drag it. And it keeps it proportioned properly. And actually I think I'm going to pull it a little bigger. There we go. And now the fun part. This little thing over here is your lasso tool. grab your lasso and outline anything that you want to keep. Doesn't have to be perfect. We can touch it up better later. My mouse. If you run out of space while you're dragging, and you need to do something like this, once you get your marching ants going, hold down shift and just keep on lassoing. And now over here, got this little button in here. This is your add layer mask. Go ahead and click that, and whoa, oh my god, stuff disappeared. Go up to filter. Go to blur, over to Gaussian blur. Set the radius to 40 pixels. Notice how the edges are softened. That's what you want. Now, make sure you click on this thing right here, your layer mask. Go to your paintbrush. You'll notice that you have black and white. Black erases. See? No. Black usually erases. See? Undo. And white brings it back. Now, just go ahead and clean up your edges. Anything that's there that you don't want. Or if there are parts that you do want that didn't come through, you can figure that out and brush them in. This method is really very forgiving. I would not recommend, though, doing an entire section of erasing in one shot. Because if you accidentally erase too much, like you say you're doing this, and then your hand slips and you wind up doing that, well, then you have to go and undo it, and it undoes a whole lot of work. So I like to do it in little pieces, just little sections. There. Now, it's not perfect, but in this day and age, what is? Now, you can leave it as it is and go play around with layers. This is where it's really all up to you guys. What I'm going to do is figure out what I want to set the layer property to. Well, that's kind of cool. And duplicate. And just keep playing with it till you find what you like. Note how he now kind of blends into the background in patches. I'm going to duplicate one more time. And I'm going to grab my paintbrush. If you happen to notice when you duplicate a masked layer and you go over to your paintbrush and it is no longer black and white, just make sure to come over here and click on your mask. Pretty simple. Now, I am Going to erase quite a bit. I'm basically only leaving his face. I know you can't really tell that I'm erasing anything, but I really am, I promise. And now with his face, I'm going to notice that I missed some spots. Alright, and scroll through the layer options again. Now you're going to want to find layer options that blend with your previous layers. So you don't want to do something like that's too dark by comparison, or too light by comparison, i.e. linear light would not be a wonderful option to go with. Oddly, I like luminosity, but I'm going to drag the opacity down a bit. And that's it for the photo section. And I'll go ahead and save it. You don't want to lose any progress you've made. Because let me tell you, doing this over again is a pain in the ass. If you have to go and open everything all up again, well, it's not fun. Now, excuse me, one sec while I take a 5-second break to... Now, there are many ways you can go with this from here. I'm going to continue adding layers. And I may have to pull up a few more textures because I don't quite have what I want. That is the one I wanted. Alright. I don't remember who exactly does this. Cloaks at DeviantArt is who made this. So if you want to go check her out, she's got some awesome textures and stock and freebies. So go ahead and drag that over. Now, you don't want this stuck in your photos group, so just make sure that it's dragged up, either above or under. And go ahead and shrink it down. Where'd it go? Shit. Back. There. Okay. One way to make sure you don't over or under resize is to turn your snap on, which apparently mine is on. And what that does is when you're dragging, it will automatically snap into place. See, watch. Except apparently over there. But there we go. And you guessed it, we're back to layer options. I find that kind of nice, actually. I'm going to duplicate it and do a... think I'll leave color dodge. Go ahead and minimize that. And we're going to bring a little more brightness and color. Apparently this was a humongous texture. The joys of Snap. Ooh. I can see an edge that shouldn't be there, so we'll just fix. There. Personally, I like that, so I'm gonna leave it. Now you'll notice that his face and body have gone out of focus a little bit. So go ahead and duplicate, and take that duplicated layer and drag it up above. And you're probably going to want to adjust some layer settings. There you go. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm over here. This is my wonderful resource folder. I have a purpose for being in here. I was considering throwing in some different textures, but I don't want to get too overwhelming, so I won't. I am, however, going to grab another picture, if I can find it. Alright, I don't really know which one I want to use, so I'm just going to drag them over here so I can open them and look at them. And I know which one I'm going to use now. Alright. Now, this is a little hazy to me, so I'm just going to and sometimes you have to do it more than once. Well, before I do that, this up here is your actions. If you don't know actions, you should learn them and make them your friends. They are wonderful things. Yet another thing you can get from DeviantArt. I'm just going to desaturate that a little bit. And voila. And drag that over to our picture. This lovely lady is Rachel Weisz, who is the face for a wonderful character played by a friend of mine, who is absolutely amazing. The character's name is Lilith, as in the mythical Lilith. That gentleman, as mentioned, is Hugh Laurie, who I use as the face for Samael, aka Jaren. They have a long, sordid history. And just like you did with Mr. Laurie, go ahead and outline what you want. Get in anything you missed. And layer mask. And go ahead and re-Gaussian blur that. And I'm turning snap off. Now, you might want to drag it down it's entirely dependent on you and where you want it, any secondary or third, fourth, fifth, whatever photos positioned. Now, having dragged her back, however, you can't see her very well. Which is another reason why layer properties come in handy. Doesn't always work. So what we're going to do is duplicate. And we're going to drag it up here. Now click on the mask. And I'm just going to erase a little bit of this top layer. I'm going to do the same to the original layer, but I'm going to drop the brush opacity to 40%, which means when I click over here and start erasing, it doesn't erase all of it, and you can still see some of her. Now, if you dropped your opacity, make sure you bring it back up to 100. And I want to throw another photo of Miss Weisz. So I'm going back over here, and I think I want to use this one. Now all I'm going to do to this is just adjust the contrast a little bit. And go ahead and drag that over. It's generally good to start out with new layers above everything else, so you can see what the hell you're doing. Just saying. Now with this one, I want to flip it and face it the other way. And actually, while I'm in free transport, I'm going to tilt it a little bit. Same dealio. Go ahead and outline. A quick and easy way to do your Gaussian blur, if you haven't done any other filters, just hit Control F and it'll reperform the last filter you used. And again, I am going to just bring some of it into focus. Over softened. And go ahead and drag that under. Duplicate and drag the second layer back up. And find a filter that works for you. I like lighten, I think. I think I like screen better, honestly. And go ahead and erase. I'm going to drop the opacity before I continue erasing. There. And this pretty much completes that portion. Now, not really going to do too much more. I'm going to add a gradient. Yep, we'll stick with that. There we go. Make sure you've been saving. You really don't want to lose your progress. Now, just pay no mind to that particular. This is. These are a couple textures I had already lying around, so. I actually kind of like them. Yes, I am readjusting. But only as needed. Now, the really fun part is this thing called text. As you can see, I have text left over from an old thingy I made. Don't worry about that. We'll just... Alright, we're going to start out with name. And since he goes by Jaren, I'm going to fix his name. And you can change the color of the text. You won't really be able to notice it right away. Alright, over here, I have text effects. It's just a simple outer glow. I honestly don't remember how to do this manually. But I'm going to turn it off. Oh, actually, I'm going to copy it and just clear it out. Now, the fun part is picking a font. And I actually have a font that I like to use with him. And... oh, the bullet. Now, I have over 1,000 fonts. So, if you don't have what I have, don't feel bad. I am a font whore like you wouldn't believe. And as you can see, that just made my tiny. So, we just go and make it bigger. And just keep increasing the size until it's somewhere around where you want it. Position it wherever you want it. And go back to your layer. Now let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's under layer. No. I think layer style. Yes. Now, you can set this up however you want. You want to move the box to where you can see the text. Now, you're going to want to pick a color Doesn't really matter what color. And play with the blend mode. Because as you can see, different blend modes have different effects. I already have what I want, so I'm just going to paste my layer style. Now to get that cool see-through effect, just go up here and go to layer dodge. You're probably going to want a secondary layer, so go ahead and duplicate that and clear out the layer style. And just change your layer blend to, you can do anything, just scroll it through and find what makes you happy. I want to use lighten, and that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to just click somewhere and to make a new type layer. You don't have to do nifty layer styles for every text layer. You can just change blend mode. You can go simple and just change colors. You can do just about anything you want. And sometimes you might just want to change the color to something lighter. Comes in handy. Just to make things a little easier. And just change that to the same color. There we go. There. And I'm actually going to, if you control click, it'll highlight both. I'm going to actually drag these underneath Jaren. I can go ahead and delete that layer. And since I am, I just need to save that. Go ahead and save your progress. I'm just about done. Oh, hey, look at that. I used Trash Co for that one. I was just curious what that font was. I don't remember ever seeing it before. And that is way too big. So we're just going to shrink it down and rebig it. Yes, I did say rebig it. Alright. This thing over here is your font and character settings. This nice little thing, if you increase it, it spaces out your letters. All of them. This one just spaces out between certain letters. Now, I'm not doing too much with this. I do want to separate that a little more. I just pasted my layer style from the other graphic, which is just a simple outer glow. And I'm pretty sure this one is exactly the same. I want it to stand out, but not significantly. And that's the basics. I have one little thing left that I'm going to do. And I do actually need to reference this one over here. Alright. I'm totally just not paying attention. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry guys, I was just trying to find a song that wasn't going to irritate the shit out of me. Now this is, when it comes to text, you can do whatever you want. Everyone's different. So if you don't get anything that's exactly how I got it, don't fret. I don't do everything the same every time. This was more to show you guys. What do I use for that? Go figure, I gotta drag it back down. There it is. Now comes the pain in the ass part. I'm actually going to change the size on this a little bit. I'm going to spread it out a little more. And I really don't want to do this, but there. Now that's better. There. Now, the reason I like the layer groups is to keep everything relatively neat. See? And that is that. So, you're done. Nearly done. You're going to want to go up to layer and merge visible. There'll be some stuff that isn't visible. You can go ahead and delete that. And you do Control-Shift-S and go save it in whatever format you're saving it in. I tend to do a ping and JPG. JPG will automatically flatten it, but there you go. And that, my friends, is that. I hope you enjoyed this, and